Hey guys, what's up? This is Mario, the keto entrepreneur. So I'm so happy that you're here because what I get to do is have the opportunity to at least attempt to bring this guy to life. So this is a hard copy of the Optimized Health Quick Start Guide. And in this video series, it's going to be, I think, 16 videos. What I wanted to do is provide a little bit more commentary and a little bit more context to some of the stale, boring words that may be written here. So I hope to, over these next few videos, to give you a little bit more insight and just share with you maybe at another layer of depth, just like some of the content that's in here, and hopefully maybe this either one provides you just a different way to consume the information that's here, and two maybe provides a little bit more, a little more robust information too. So I'm going to try to make each one of these videos less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and get started, right? So it starts with introduction, which is basically my background story, my origin story. Point number one, I'm a digital marketer. I run a digital marketing agency called Dominate Media, and basically what all of my skill set is in digital marketing and things like that. So I've learned a little bit about health and nutrition and things that work for me, but please don't misconstrue anything that I say as health advice, because I'm not a doctor. So if you need personalized health advice for you, I'd recommend consulting a medical professional. So back to the story. About 7 years ago now, I was probably in the best shape of my life. Actually, I think I'm in better shape now, which isn't saying much. But so at that point in 2013 to 2015, etc., I was vegan. I was going to the gym almost every day. I was, in addition to that, I was doing yoga almost 5 times a day. I had a pretty active job. Again, I was in great shape. I think what ended up happening is, I started to hang out with people who were a little bit more like health conscious, and they kind of inspired me to as well be more health conscious. And I think I watched a documentary. It was called like Forks Over Knives, if I remember correctly, and it just made me want to be vegan, and it worked for me, right? I wasn't eating. I was what's called a whole food plant-based vegan. And so, oh well, right? We live and we learn. Long story short, though, about that time, it's funny because about that time, it's when I started. I guess I was just like in an age of exploration because I wanted to get in better health, and at that point I started learning about digital marketing. And probably about 2015 is when 2015 I graduated from college. And I started getting a little bit more involved in digital marketing. I think I started my own Shopify store. Really, what happened is as I graduated college with my master's degree, with my MBA, I for a change, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur at that point. I think I've wanted to be an entrepreneur all my life, but I wasn't ready to take on like 100% of the risk of running my own business. Probably because I did a couple businesses before and they all failed. And so I wasn't really ready to take that risk, but I wanted some bit more control of my income, where basically my performance was based on my pay and not how many hours I put in. And so I went into sales. I got a sales job. I was the international sales manager for a air conditioning manufacturer. And basically what that meant is anything that was outside of the US and or Canada was my sales territory. So that included like Mexico, Latin America, South America, Central America. So that's all the Americas. And then on the other hemisphere, I had responsibility for Europe and Asia, Africa, Australia, Middle East, and a whole bunch of other countries. And so I was traveling a lot. And so I went from having all the time to work out and choose what I was eating to being on airplanes 2, sometimes 3 times in a week, traveling to these places where I wasn't really familiar with the cuisine, and just kind of eating what I heard an interesting quote the other day, like I was basically living to eat, right? So I would go to like different places and oh man, I want to try the food there. And so that's basically what I would do. I was entertaining clients, and so what that usually entailed is, part of being in sales is you go to the client's place, you take them out to a fancy restaurant, and we'd order wine and drinks. And so I went from, again, being very health conscious, going to the gym all the time, to being very busy. In addition to, that sales job, I was, I am a dad and a husband, and I was learning more about digital marketing. I was implementing it. And I think at that point I was doing e-commerce. That didn't work out either, but I was still learning about digital marketing. And so, fast forward a little bit, 2017, I shifted the focus. Still at the air conditioning company, but I shifted my focus from a digital marketing perspective, from doing e-commerce to more an agency model. And then fast forward a little bit even more, 2019, where I was like, I didn't want to work at the air conditioning job anymore. It was too stressful. I wasn't seeing my family enough. And long story short, I decided to make digital marketing more of a full-time job for me. And when I made that change, I'm like, great, now I can get all the time back. I can focus more on getting into shape and doing the right things. You see, because during that period, I was slowly growing my digital marketing business on the side, but I was doing it through sacrifice, right? I was sacrificing time with my family and a whole bunch of other things to be able, sacrificing eating right and just sacrificing overall being healthy to grow my digital agency. But while my digital agency was growing and it was helpful, the other thing that was growing is my waistline. So much so to at the point earlier this year, I looked in the mirror and I thought I saw like, a chubbier for myself. But what I truly saw, what the doctors told me is that, Mario, quit lying to yourself. You're not chubby. You're actually obese. So I was like the height and the weight that basically put me on, the BMI scale that said I was obese. And that kind of like hit me really hard because I was always kind of like a skinny kid. And I remember when I was healthy, right? It wasn't too long ago when I was in really good shape. So that really struck me and it really made me realize I had to make a change. And so I tried a bunch of things. I tried doing, I did an exercise routine and that didn't really work. Tried a couple of these diets and that didn't really work. And so I figured I had to do something extreme. And that's when I learned about keto and yeah. So that's, I think it's a good place to stop, right? I just wanted to tell you a little bit about like who I was and what it is that I do, and how I learned about the diet that I'm going to suggest. It really saved my life, right? It put me on a totally different path, and I'm so passionate about it. So yeah, it's a little bit about me, kind of my background. Like I said, I wanted to make these videos pretty short, so I'm going to cut this one right here, and we'll start the next one. See you guys in the next video.